He got home, and within a week, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4 pancreatic cancer in mid-March. And by October of that year, we lost him.
I am excited to be connecting today with one of my buddies in the cannabis industry for a very long time here. He is the co-founder and CMO of Chill Steel Pipes, the founder and CEO of BuzzFeed, doing a bunch of other really cool projects. Justin Johnson, man, thanks so much for being here, dude. Really excited to be talking to you. How's it going, man?
What's up, man? It's good. I'm glad to be here. I'm always a supporter of Andrew Ward, so I'm happy to be a part of it, man.
Even when I don't deserve it, always appreciate it. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, thanks.
You always deserve it. You deserve more.
No, I don't think so. But good thing though, when I actually back at you is reciprocating that positive energy to kick it off, man. I told you this already, but like I have a couple of head shops in my neighborhood, including like some bougie ones in Park Slope in Brooklyn for, folks who don't know, is like kind of the affluent, like Brooklyny neighborhood now. And the few head shops I walk in, I've seen like Chill prominently featured on like some of the top shelves and shit. It's like, oh, I know that guy. That's cool as shit to see that.
I love that. I love being prominently displayed in New York, because this is obviously where we got our start, and it's amazing how awareness works, because there's so many people that still don't know about us. So every time I'm in a town, I'm like, I go to the head shop, I'm looking around, seeing if it's there or not.
Yeah, man. I try to keep it down the middle, but I'm a fan. I use your product quite a bit, so I always do tell people about you guys. Last year I did a wrestling event, and I basically, if anyone watches like WWF from back in the day, there was the Undertaker and Paul Bear would carry out the metal urn, and I used the chill pipe for that, and then I just ripped a huge ripped the bong like really big before like my guy came out and it got this huge pop and everything, and I was like, all right, thanks, Justin, appreciate it.
Nice. The Godfather actually did a whole skit using the gold one. He's out in Vegas, so we have our warehouse out in Vegas, and he's a brother-in-law of actually one of the guys at Whack It Grinders. I could get to the crazy part about the cannabis industry is all the interconnections that you have, and then ultimately like people who were like childhood heroes are like somehow within like arm's length all of a sudden.
So crazy. Yeah. That it's really cool. I have a buddy of mine who I now do like, I won't name drop him here, but we regularly do like dab reps and like talk like 2-3 times a month. And I was like, I interviewed you for like an article, and like you hit me up to want to hang out. I was like, this is not what I expected. This is fucking cool though.
Yeah. Came back around.
Yeah. Actually tell people like, what is Chill if they haven't used it? What are you guys all about?
Yeah. So Chill is, we felt like the age-old water pipe needed to be reinvented a little bit, not so much in functionality, but materials. So the Chill is the world's first double-wall vacuum-insulated stainless steel smoking apparatus, aka bong or water pipe. And what I mean by double-wall vacuum-insulated is it's similar to your Yeti cup or your Hydro Flask, or one of those devices that keeps your water extra warm or extra cold for an extended period of time. So I like to refer to it as the most practical bong on the market. You're not going to drop it and break it. You put ice cold water in there at the beginning of the day. You're going to have ice cold water in there at the end of the day. And, it's really got basic functions. So, and it looks pretty, looks good in your house. So
what do you got, like how many different designs and stuff, because you can do customizable interchangeable upper and lower chambers on it. So what do you got? Like you were like 30 or 40 last time I was talking to you. That was a while back.
Yeah, so this is your classic. This is how they all start, is in that stainless steel. And then probably about 30. And then if you really took into consideration all the combos, we'd probably have over 100. So 30-ish like fundamental designs, like pinks and blues and greens, etc., different kind of texturized finish or rubberized finishes, which is actually, we're about to drop. We don't have the rubberized finishes out yet, but that's going to be ready for the holidays. And and then we sell the neck pieces separately. So if you bought a neon pink gloss and you wanted to spruce it up a bit, you can get our floral coloring book neck piece, or you can get a leopard skin neck piece. So different ways to change it up. We also do different down stem colors and bowl pieces, so you can really kind of make it your own.
And in a few years, hopefully, you'll be doing licensed shit with the NBA and some of the other professional leagues once we get federal legalization off the ground.
I got hit up a while back, like probably about a year ago, about the NBA, and I think it's still a little too soon, but we're definitely getting there. I mean, we did a licensing deal with uh, Tommy Chong, so we launched the Tommy Chong Chill Bong, which was pretty cool. And then I recently did a deal with Grassroots, which is a major Cure Leaf brand out of California, Colorado. It's nationwide now with their footprint. And then most recently, we did the California State Fair.
Oh
So
shit!
we
Really?
actually
That's
made
awesome.
California State Fair chill bongs, which is pretty sweet, you know?
Oh, nice. Send me a picture of that. I want to put that up if you got it.
Yeah. The
That's
government,
awesome.
the government.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're finding a way to make a profit in it, so they're welcoming us in now finally.
If you saw my taxes, you'd find that there's finding several ways to make a profit off of it.
Oh man. Well, I think you guys you got a pretty interesting story of how you got into weed and how you got into chill and kick this all thing off, man. Can you kind of give us a little bit of a walkthrough how it all came about?
Yeah, for sure. In 2019, I came up with an idea for a website called BuzzFeed.com, and BuzzFeed is not really a publication platform so much as it is a social platform for sharing and discovering cannabis-related products and services. So most of the content on the site is user-generated, whether that's the interviews that we do with founders or really the core functionality of the website is to seed a new product. And It's kind of funny. It all started as a newsletter to about 100 people, one of whom was the sister of a man named Rich Gonzalez. Rich was a major manufacturer in the water bottle space, creating what would be considered one of the top competitors to Yeti, Swell, and Hydro Flask. And she reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've been following BuzzFeed since the beginning. My brother loves it, and he has the idea for a bong. Would you be willing to chat with him?" And I said emphatically, absolutely. And honestly, just a couple weeks before COVID hit, we met up at Frames at the bowling alley, right in
Or Port
now over
Authority?
to Jersey. Yeah, Port Authority, dicey place to meet up with anybody, frankly.
Oh yeah.
Um, and we got along really quickly, instantly. He showed me the deck for the product, and I told him if he made it real, because he had the skills to manufacture this thing, and he's already invested pretty heavily into it. That I would be his CMO, and I would help raise whatever capital was needed to launch the product. I thought it was so new and different, and frankly, just beautiful and versatile. I just felt like this is something that people. If I'm reacting this way, I think other people react this way, and fortunately, that was the case.
Yeah, and where did it go? How did it go from there? Especially like meeting right before COVID. How did you guys go from meeting to being we have hope to holy shit, what are we falling into in this world?
It's interesting because he lived in Clifton, New Jersey, right? And I lived at the time in Cypress Hills, Brooklyn, and I went upstate a lot. So we were both. I'd been working from home for about 3 or 4 years at that point. COVID or BuzzFeed, and prior to that, I had a work from home job, and all of a sudden he didn't have to travel anymore. So we actually surprisingly had a lot of time to think it through. And while the factories were really in a bad spot overseas, you know, doing research and development, small scale research and development, and building out the initial molds and all that, that was actually really doable. And believe it or not, during COVID, man, people, investors and people that were in business, they were bored. They were trying to figure out, and people were buying stuff. I mean,
Oh
if you
yeah,
look at
absolutely.
this industry is about 50% down where it was in 2020, 2021. Because
Yeah.
2020, 2021, everybody had the stimmies. They were buying weed and bongs
We
and
were
so
essential.
yeah, exactly. So it was actually a really good time, because there was about 2 or 3 extra hours in the day. We had great relationships from a manufacturing perspective that kept things going. And we were able to really focus on raising the capital that we needed to launch it without having to like be in stores or even be in person in a lot of ways. So
Wow.
to say it was favorable would be unfair because it was obviously super tragic for a ton of people. But in this instance, it was pretty it worked out really well, I guess, is a
I
good
mean,
way to put it.
anytime you can find the vaguest of silver linings from COVID era stuff, I'm like, I feel like you got to lean into it and be okay with it. But then you always are like, okay, yeah, no, though it wasn't worth it at all. But like, all right, yeah, that was actually pretty beneficial in that small moment.
Yeah, I mean, even BuzzFeed did really well. You know, the biggest challenge I
Yeah,
had with BuzzFeed was just being um, limited in the amount of time I had. I was out networking. I was trying to make a name in the industry, and then I had all this content, including some that you helped me with, right?
yeah, yeah.
And suddenly I had the time to go after it. So that was unique.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I feel like in cannabis, essential probably because of that essential status and everyone being to work from home, and everyone kind of in that bust your ass mindset of being like in one giant startup space. Like a lot of cannabis folks did end up doing pretty well comparatively, when looking at like other industries and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it was again, yeah, not a good thing, but it was not a horrible time for us. We actually even did a champs in late 2020, I think, in Florida. Of course,
Yeah, in retrospect.
we were able to do a trade show in Florida, which is not surprising.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one of the last frontiers for those things at the time,
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
and the first to open back up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had a friend who, this isn't cannabis related, but she was like friends of cannabis writers and stuff, and she lived in Florida, and they went back, and COVID was one of the first things that opened up, and like it didn't turn out to be any sort of like spreader event, but I did see like a fist fight on her live, like within the first like 20 minutes of it being on, and I was like, that's some Florida shit right there, man.
Oh, I mean, look, man, people lost their marbles, during COVID. I mean, you look
They're
at
still gone.
yeah, it's weird. It's actually that's I feel like the negativity of what happened at COVID is actually really starting to reflect right now, where you have people lost their awareness of how to operate and how to be, it sounds horrible, but in some respects, just good human beings, like treating people well and um, you know, ranging from the gas station to professional services. Like I've had people that I really trusted in very significant, what I would call like essential services to my business, where they just dropped the ball. And I just think people were, you never know what people in their company were going through, and so I don't hold anybody personally accountable for that, but I noticed there's a big lack of things like customer service and a lot of challenges
Oh yeah,
came out of it that are still
yeah.
plaguing us.
I definitely, yeah, I can, I felt a lot of burnout. I'm still, still trying to pull in and out of it sometimes, like coming out of COVID, because it was like for a while, work was the only thing you could do, thankfully. And then it was like, holy crap, I like am just so shot of this, especially a lot of it because it was just like business writing and PR and stuff. And it turned out a lot of that was just like hot air. And it's just like, oh man, where's the good in all this and all that sort of stuff. And it was hard to come back from that for a little while.
Yeah, well, fortunately, back then, as a cannabis writer, the news then was rather progressive and good.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to see the real negative impact of bad actors, blowing investor money and I do my newsletter every week. It just went out
Yeah.
a second ago, and even that's real challenging to like, because I really try to lean on the positive side of what's happening in the industry, and you can't always do that. You have to be comprehensive, and it's not all good news.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. We're both in content, and I always hear, I don't know about you, but I hear from people all the time. Are like, I want good news, I want positive news. And it's like, yeah, we all do, but like you just said, I mean, you can find small slivers, maybe personal profiles and stuff like that. But if you're looking for large scale stuff at the moment, I don't know. At least if you're looking for traditional, like legal policy sort of stuff or business stuff, it's few and far between a lot of times.
Yeah, it's shot and it goes back and forth a lot, right? Like Michigan was in a really bad place like 4 or 5 months ago, and now Michigan is being hailed as like the top market in the country. Like unexpectedly, they're doing better than anyone. Missouri, not
Yeah,
even a legal state, and suddenly like boom, going.
$1 billion in 3 months, I think it was something like
Yeah,
that. Meanwhile, New
yeah,
York has done 12 million in 6 months.
yeah. New York's a funny one. I think New York is trying to do the right thing, and unfortunately, politics are not about doing the right thing. It's about winning and forcing your agenda on other people. And I would like to think that everybody that's creating policy for New York is trying to do the right thing, and they're getting shot in the foot at every turn. But it's getting a little dire. I feel bad for the growers out there that really have all this
Yeah.
product that they need to sell, and retail is one thing, but the farmers markets are cool. Like anything we can do to help the growers like get through their product, like that was a big gamble. They invested a lot of resources to grow weed without a market to sell to.
Yeah, man. And what they ended up issuing over 200 licenses from like the hemp side alone, or was it from the first wave? It was like what was that,
Yeah,
card growers and some other folks got included in that, I think it was altogether.
yeah. Well, they allowed anybody who had I think they had to have been growing hemp for like 2 years or something like that.
That's right,
They
yeah.
were able to instantly get as long as they were in good standing, they were able to get a provisional license to grow cannabis. And we know a lot of these. I feel like and those are just the people I know, and I know that they had a challenging time, and they're really good, well connected people who probably had a better chance of selling their product than others as well. So
Yeah, I was just doing an article about first wave product quality and how it kind of hurt the market reputation, and a little bit in comparison to what the rest of New York has fumbled the ball with since then. But like, it sucked because I like Brittany. She's worked with some people I really like too, and she a year or so ago was like really optimistic, like we're gonna do this, we got this, we have the capabilities, blah 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 blah. And then flash forward to a year later, she's at the New York Cannabis Insider panel, basically saying the government set them up to go head first off a cliff, and it's just like,
yeah.
man, that's deflating as fuck to hear.
Well, it's not humorous, but what's interesting about the whole thing is like I remember when Housing Works first opened, and everybody's like, "Yeah, the weed at Housing Works sucks." It's like, first of all, it's not the weed at Housing Works. It is the weed in New York is being grown outdoors, and you're used to getting packs from California. that's
Right,
that's
right.
what it is. Which is,
A
if
little
we had
different.
and if we had federal legalization today, we would have we'd have craft growers growing these indoor grows with this great new genetics and stuff like that. But 90% of our weed would be coming from California and Southern Oregon. It's the same
Exactly.
as our lettuce and our tomatoes and our avocados and everything else that we consume as a food. Like there's a reason that's all grown in California, and it's because California's got the most amazing climate in the world for growing those things. And it's true
Right.
for weed as well. And it'll be that way when we get federally legalized. It's going to be, people are going to look to Michigan, Minnesota. They're going to be like, damn, we built these gigantic indoor garden facilities. What were we thinking?
Yeah. Well, I will say at least Michigan has $50 ounces. And, for all the shit you could fuck up there, I was there a couple of months ago. Now it just made my jaw drop after in New York, where it's like 260 to 300 usually.
Yeah, they grow great outdoor there too. They're known for actually Northern Michigan's known for red wine, and they grow some really good outdoor grown buds. So does upstate New York. I can
Yeah.
attest to what's in my backyard right now. There's some really good outdoor and grown bud, but if you're comparing it to everything else that you got in New York prior to now, it's gonna be a challenge. There's so much good stuff coming over from California. All these stores that are popping up all over the city. That just shows you how cheap and abundant good weed is in California.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah. I'm waiting for the day interstate just happens. It's like everything in weed. It'll be incremental as all hell, but one day we'll have it, and then that'll
Then it will
be,
happen way too fast.
yeah, that's true, 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 true. Well, we'll get shit,
And
and then
everybody
that'll
will be
turn
like,
into
God
shit.
damn it, I just built this new facility and now I have to compete with nationwide growers, you know?
How Oregon fucked over the rest of America.
Oh man. Yeah, my
And
I have family in Southern Oregon and who's a one of them's a mortgage broker and she was like, all these people came in 5 years ago and just bought up all this land in Southern Oregon and that's all they've been doing.
damn.
Yeah,
Well, congrats to them, and congrats to one day to the public works in Oregon, because you're going to get a lot of money once interstate ends up being a thing.
exactly.
Well, dude, I don't want to, get negative on it, but we know that there is, some harder times came ahead for you guys with Chill and going forward. Do you mind diving into that? And, because love to show people the reality of operating in this cannabis space.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, a um, everything is always harder than you think it will be. We should just be able to manufacture a product, warehouse it, and sell it. But there's always the number of gotchas that we ran into along the way was super challenging. And once we hit our stride, so 2020 we got going. 2021 we came out the gate real strong. All of our pre-orders went out in March. We launched officially on 420 of 2021, went to champs, did really really well, had an amazing first year, and we were in the process of uh, you know really what Rich and I were trying to do is build a accelerator. We were trying to build a venture studio to help other people have the success that we had early on with Chill. Uh, we went to Vegas. We were there for champs with Doreen from My Budvase, and we went and we got a new warehouse and we were ready to rock and roll. And Rich was feeling really bad, and we didn't know why. He had a lot of pain between his shoulder blades, and Doreen actually was like, "Let me put some CBD oil on your back," and she found a lump,
Mm,
and
Jesus.
we were like, we wrote it off as like, oh, it's a knot in your back, it can't be anything too serious because obviously never you want to think about what it could be. And for the 3 or 4 days we were out there for champs, he got progressively worse, sick to his stomach. He had just had gallbladder surgery, um, and so we're like, oh, maybe they botched the surgery, yada yada
Right.
yada, right? It's causing you to have some physiological issue. And we made it through champs with the help of some illicit drugs and to help him get through the pain. And long story short, he got home and within a week he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4 pancreatic cancer in mid-March. And by October of that year, we lost him.
Jesus.
And so, yeah, it showed, man. You could be flying high, everything could be going well, and something comes and humbles you pretty dramatically. And at that time, it was Rich's company, right? Like I was the CMO and really a consultant to the brand. I had
Right.
worked on, I had BuzzFeed and I had several other clients at the time. And, I had to make this decision. Like, we just landed 2 containers of goods. We got this new warehouse. We were running out of money because nobody was running the company. And it was either like go all in or let it die. And, you know, 2 days later, I jumped on a plane. I flew to Las Vegas. I slept in a warehouse for 2 weeks in the freezing cold because I'll tell you what, Vegas gets really cold in the wintertime. And,
Yeah, man.
and I hired a bunch of friends to just start assembling products and putting them in packaging and building out pallets. And I spent all day calling shops, calling distributors, moving the product that we had, and finding things like when people get sick like that, they don't want to. Nobody likes to admit a weakness, right? So there's a lot of stuff that was kind of like stacking up that he was going to get to tomorrow and get to
Mm.
tomorrow. I'm talking like 6 figures worth of invoices
Okay.
and other things that I probably won't talk about.
Sure,
that
sure.
were not buttoned up because they were things that he was planning to get to and that I really didn't have any idea about, and so it went from being like I'm the marketing guy with this very successful product I just launched to I'm now the CEO of this company and I have to make it work. And
Right.
that was not to mention, while you're losing one of your best friends and
Yeah.
you try to be positive with him about the outcome, but you very well know what stage 4 pancreatic cancer means. So it was a lot, and he had a 2-year-old daughter, a wife of just a handful of years at that point. Um, I was very close to the sister, as I mentioned, and it was a whole family affair. It was challenging.
Yeah, man. I'm being my condolences, to you and obviously Rich's family too. It's just I've heard it before from you. We've talked about this before, and it's hard to hear it every time, and I just can't imagine living it. Like the having to go through that juxtaposition of company while dealing with that. How it sounded like, were you kind of like the person that puts your head down and works when you're going through tough stuff, or was that something that you just had to do in this moment?
Yeah, yeah, you have to. I find that most of the things that we do, like our joy is generally like dictated by our ego, right? And like so things cannot necessarily be going well, but as long as things seem like they're going well, you can be pretty satisfied. Um, but when things really aren't going well and you have to like solve the problem, like there's nothing really that replaces hard work, and there's nothing that really um like sales fix issues in this case, right? There's a very specific metric. If I go out and I sell the shit out of this product, I will make enough money to get through the challenges that we're having right now. And
Yeah.
that's all that mattered. Make, continue. We knew that we had a good product. We knew that we had a good fan base and that our community was behind us. But what I had to do is go out there and sell. And if I could sell enough, I could at least get some breathing room to deal with all the other stuff. And that's
Right.
true. Like, when I was in school, like if things weren't going well, it's, sit down, focus, study, get your grades up, um, even previously at other jobs, it's like, well, the economy's down. I could be one of the people who's fat and happy and just gets laid off because I'm not willing to work hard enough. Or I can put my head down. I can be like one of the 4 people that survives layoffs and
Right.
gets through it, and so that's always been, my work ethic has always been my strongest skill set. I'm a pretty creative guy and I have other qualities, but my ability to like bulldoze uh, large amounts of work when necessary is probably one of my strongest skill sets. And that's, my parents worked in retail, man. There's no days off in retail.
No, no, not at all. Yeah, I feel like being creative and having your back against the wall it's one of the most stressful things, but it is also one of the most rewarding when you come out from it on the other end. Like, I don't know if it will override the shit you had to go through with some of those, especially in your situation, but like at the end you could at least be like, well, that was, a heavy accomplishment, and like you said, the money won't buy you happiness, but it will buy you some breathing room to at least like work on yourself and kind of
Yeah.
recollect at some point.
Yeah, I definitely still have some like crazy trauma that is yet to be processed through all of this for sure. And it comes out in situations where I realize that I am not over certain things. Um, but I also, and I'm not a religious guy, but I feel like to some degree I was given a test in my
Yeah.
life where somebody was like, I was chilling. I mean, post COVID, I had the website, I was running this, I had a couple other clients, I owned my house outright. I was pretty chill. Like I was relaxing and not,
You're in a good groove.
but I wasn't putting in the effort that I knew I could and should to be really successful. And I
Mhm.
think it's like some divine intervention there. I got slapped around. It's like you're not working hard enough. Like, and you're not even 40 yet. get your ass in gear, you know?
Here's some adversity,
Yeah,
go deal with it.
yeah,
Thanks, thanks,
exactly.
life. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, I was kind of hoping I would just have this upward momentum for a good while here, but thanks, life. You always want to throw a good drop in there every once in a while, like a bad roller coaster.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was like. It's like, yeah, just getting slapped with some adversity just to spice things up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of like when it rains, it pours. I'm always like, two or three things at once is always going to be it. It's never going to be just one. It's like boom, and then you get like another week, and then another thing on top, and you're like, all right, cool. Like, next person's turn. All right, if I can just get like skipped over the next couple rounds, this would be really great. I
Yeah,
feel like I took my licks.
that's true of good things and bad things too. Too many good things can be equally stressful on your system.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like riding too much of a high or riding too much of a low. I feel like any of that can fuck you up. I know, like last year, well, almost 2 years now, I was like doing my dorky like milestone. I got to be in a professional wrestling show, and I was like riding a high. And then the next night, I come in and I find out like my dog was like on like the early stages of being paralyzed, and then had to spend the next year and a half like building her back up. And I was like, all right, cool. That was life perspective. Like,
I
got it there and I
remember.
get pulled right back.
Yeah, I remember when you were going through that. I mean, that's like one of those things where it's like, and you have to give up yourself to fix it. Like, and you can't not. Like, people, you know, this is effed up to even think about, but I'm sure people were like, have you thought about putting your dog down? In
Oh
my
yeah,
situation, people are like, have you thought about, like, you don't have to do this. It's not your company. I'm like, but I
I
do
am
have to do this.
right. It's the
I
only
have
right
to.
thing to do.
Yeah. And a lot of people in my life didn't understand that. And they were scared for me. They were really freaked out about what I was going through because they could see it. I would wake up, I'd go to bed at like 1, 2 o'clock every morning. I'd wake up at 4 with a panic attack. And this was
Yep,
like
yep.
6, 7 months of that every single day. It was
And that
like,
fucks you up.
oh, mentally, it's like you're not getting enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep, yep.
you toss and turn in bed and you're like, I don't want to get up. It's like you don't have an option. Your brain is going. And it's,
Yeah.
for better or worse, it's not making sense, but it's, you can't turn it off.
No. Yeah, I definitely have related to that. And then like the exhaustion kicks in and the migraines kick in, but then like your brain is still like, wake up and go do this. You got to go do this. Whether it be, sometimes it's a positive creative burst, but 99% of the time it's like your life's on fire, your world's about to end. Like, get the fuck up and like panic with doing some work right now. It's the only thing that will make
Yeah,
it better.
it was definitely fight or flight, and a lot of it was flight, right? Like a lot of it was panic and just, you know, uh, I'm OCD. Like I'm clinically OCD. Actually, the first time I
Mm.
ever reached out to you is because you wrote an article about OCD and cannabis. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I was wondering how we got linked up. I remember I forgot about that. That's
it
really cool.
referenced a study from Washington State University, which is where I went to school.
That's right.
And I had actually written a paper while at school about OCD and cannabis, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is like full circle," because I had just started BuzzFeed, and for me, the unknown is uh, that's the most concerning thing. Like if you know something bad's gonna happen and you're just bracing for it, that's one thing. If
Mhm.
you don't know what could be around the next turn, and you're just like constantly worried about what's around the next turn and you obsess over that, like that is the equivalent of torture to somebody with OCD. Like that is what causes OCD. The worst possible thing that could happen is what you obsess over, and you develop compulsions as a way of easing that. So for me, it was waking up every day at 4 and being like, I got to do this, and this today, and or the world's gonna end. I'm gonna get pancreatic cancer. I'm gonna die. And
Oh
like
Jesus.
legitimately, oh dude, I made my doctor give me a CAT scan. Like I was freaked out. Like I was freaked out. Like
I mean, I can't
anything.
blame you.
Yeah, I had a real tough time thinking about my health, thinking about all of these things that could possibly be wrong with me, the company, my future, my house. Everything that belonged to me was in uh, peril. Like it was at
Everything,
risk.
yeah.
Yeah, and so
Nothing to save.
Yeah, that was the hardest part, was to kind of realize, A, you have other people in your corner and know it's not that bad. And B, you know, like, you know, if you just keep working on it, you'll get through it. But at the time, your brain is just, you're racing,
Yeah, absolutely. So is this when microdosing and stuff started coming into play for you? I know we were talking a little bit, not a spoiler for the listeners, but yeah, basically microdosing has been a big help for you for the last few years. Is this when that all started coming into the picture?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I had stopped taking OCD medication a long time ago because it was, it's basically Zoloft and SSRIs. I have a love-hate relationship with. They've helped me a lot at certain points in my life, and but I believe that they really mask an issue versus like creating new neural pathways in your brain that are going to help you solve the issue.
Right.
And because that's what drugs do. They help symptoms. They don't solve. They don't fix the problem, right? Um, and yeah, I started microdosing. There's two things I actually started doing that were really helpful. One is I really couldn't smoke weed anymore, which is really unfortunate. Like I started,
Really?
yeah, I was so busy that it'd be like 11 o'clock at night, and I'd be like, okay, I'll take some hits. I'll go take a little bong rip, or I'll take a couple hits. I have a panic attack, dude. I'd be like,
Really?
yeah, because I knew that I had 2 or 3 more hours of work still to do,
Like I shouldn't
and
be doing this.
I shouldn't be doing this. And
It's
it
the
was
worst.
it's one of those things where I think most things I do I can do high, and most people would not really realize it. But
Hmm.
these are all new things. I had to learn everything, and it's not like
Right.
I had to
You
like
had to give it
learn
your
how to
full
run a
focus.
warehouse 100%. And that really frustrated me because historically it's the only thing that could calm me down. And
Right. Now
and
now that's taken away.
right, like and it's associated with my friend dying, right? So like my friend, like we were in
Shit.
this industry together, so I had these negative thoughts surrounding it. And I had a friend who started microdosing a long time ago and had some gummies, and they gave me these microdose gummies, and I remember taking them the first day, and it's a zero point 0.3 milligrams. And I just remember like the sun feeling a little bit warmer on my face, colors being a little bit more vibrant, not feeling weird at all, but feeling good. And it was the first time I felt good in a really long time.
That's awesome.
And so I asked him for some more, and I started doing like zero point 0.3 milligrams every 3 days. To the point I probably did that for like 2 months. Actually, the first time I did it, like probably actually the second dose I ever did, like 6 days in, I literally cranked out like $100,000 worth of invoices, like all the stuff that I never wanted to do ever in my life from a business administration standpoint. I'm like, well, somebody's got to do it. It's like Adderall. It was like Adderall and Zoloft in one for me. Like it was like an
Fuck yeah.
antidepressant and a stimulant, and I just went after it. And I was like, this is really improving things for me. And so I proceeded to microdose probably for like 3 months, every 3 days, zero point 0.3 milligrams, relatively affordable, to be honest with you, compared to pharmaceutical drugs. It was not that much more expensive. And after about 3 months, like I was really content. Like I was happy. Um, and unlike other drugs where it's like you don't go off them cold turkey or you'll have a
Right.
withdrawal, I stopped taking them, and I continued to feel great for another 2 or 3 months. And after about 2 or 3 months, I had to kind of get started on them again. But it was one of these things where it's like I really credit it with I think saving my life is probably a little too extreme, but I definitely felt like I was gonna die prior to that.
Jesus.
And after that experience, I felt like I enjoy living. I enjoy these things that I'm doing. I'm passionate about saving this company. I'm passionate about all the other things that people love about me, and those are hard things to uh, reflect on when you're like uh, just being mentally fucked by, you know, every
Trauma and everything.
every power out there. Yeah. So taking mushrooms was really therapeutic for me. Mushrooms, specifically psilocybin. Um, And then growing. I
Mm.
wasn't consuming it, but growing it, man, I'll tell you what, when someone that is really important in your life is dying, and then you can go out and you can grow something and you can watch it evolve every day and get bigger and better and smell amazing and like all these things, like you feel a lot of a really huge sense of accomplishment from that experience.
Yeah, man.
And
But
so,
you're bringing life into this world while
right.
you're it's the circle of life.
And maybe it was the mushrooms that made me feel that way, but I
That's the
felt
beauty of
really,
mushrooms and growing. Then.
oh man, I felt so you know, and I'm not a type of person that has a ton of hobbies. Like my hobby's always been, I was an ad guy for my whole career for 15 years. Prior to that, I worked in software. My hobby was working my ass off and
Right.
making money, right? Like that's what I like to do. And I entered this new stage of my life where money was less important. Being Trying to build something of my own was way more important. Um, and then I went through this traumatic experience, and I'll tell you what, man, like that became a really big passion of mine. I can understand why people get the bug. After I started growing cannabis, I started growing tomatoes. I started growing shishito peppers. I started growing everything because it was just like, wait, I understand how to do this now. I understand how the
Yeah.
nutrients work and harvesting it, and like this whole different like little like passion for this business and the plant opened up that never existed before. Like I never had any. I could buy weed for whatever. Like I get weed for free all the time. Like why would I need to grow it? That was like my mentality before this, and then afterward it was like super therapeutic. And my one of my good friends over in Jersey, she was like, now you know why they call it plant therapy. And I was like, wow, yeah,
Fuck yeah,
totally.
man. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad to hear that. What strains are you growing right now?
Maui True Blood and G13.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, the True Blood was the one you were telling me about. I never got to grow it myself. That's the one where you crack it open and it basically bleeds, right?
Yeah, it's lacking. I think I have some seeds laying around here. It's lacking an enzyme that causes its sap to actually be red. And it's a combo of Maui Wowie and one other very famous kind of Hawaiian strain. It's all from Sticky Finger Seeds in Maui, uh, 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 by a gentleman named Will, who happens to be neighbors with Jerome Baker, Jason Harris.
Oh, nice.
So very, very small circle. Um, he had sent me some actually when I went to MJ BizCon, and I was handing him out as gifts just as to help him out with some marketing. I had some gifts as the guy from BuzzFeed, and I had some left over, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pop these things, and we're going to see how it goes.
Fuck yeah, man. So have you've done a couple cycles with them now, right?
Yeah, I got some good ones going.
Oh, good shit, good shit. Send me some videos if you can.
Oh, I
It's
will.
it's funny because a previous show I did for one of the interviews was with the show called Bloodweed, an Audible show. And after seeing these seeds, I was like, oh shit, I wonder if there was any inspiration. Turns out it was about dipping weed in pig's blood. So it was a completely different thing. But I was like, oh, okay,
Totally
cool.
different.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah.
different.
Just thankfully that one was fiction though, so we're good. But yeah, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing on this, and I think that this is something really important because a lot of times in cannabis we kind of glance over a lot of different things, the hardships as well as the humanity side of a lot of this, just thinking that people are rich and successful and doing well in this, which is often not
Opposite.
true. Also, yes,
Opposite.
yeah.
I've,
So
I've never been less rich, but
it's at least you sound like you're happy, man, and things are getting better. And that's I know you said you still got to work through it, and obviously it would make sense. But I'm really happy to hear you're doing better, and things are the plant therapy and the mushrooms are helping out. And I know for a fact you helped give me another idea to want to do microdosing myself. So I'm actually going to probably be kicking that off in the next week or two myself. So I credit you for giving me that idea to redo that.
it'll change your life, man. And yeah, I think people got to realize that, you know, uh, it, it's very easy to be a dick about what's going on in the company. But, oh, these people, like even the big MSOs, people are like, oh, of course they're failing. It's like, you don't know why. You don't know why people are, going through what they're going through. And it's important to recognize that no matter who you are in this business, everybody's human, and that can be over in a snap, and things can be going great today and not so great tomorrow. So count your blessings, and enjoy the ride as much as possible, and be there for people who are going through it, because I think community has always been key for me in this industry. And I think had it not been for my community, we wouldn't have made it through this first wave of challenges. Now we're dealing with economic shit, but I'm confident that I have a strong enough of a network that I can, weather any storm.
Yeah. So if this interview or if this conversation resonated with you at all, go pick up a chill and throw some support towards Justin's way and pick up a cool bog along the way of the process.
www.chill.store.
Oh yeah, I was going to give you a full plug. We'll put it better, but no, that's good. That's good. I didn't do it earlier, so I wanted to say also shout out to, I believe it's Jackie Bryant, who was the one that first told me about putting your chill in the freezer and then loading it up with ice. Game changer when you do your bongs. My only thing is a caution is every time I would forget to clear it, and then in the morning I would rip a bong and just get full ass bong water in the mouth because I forgot that all the ice cubes melted overnight.
Oh yeah, you gotta be careful.
That was a pure operational malice, though. But you're still an awesome product. So yeah, definitely check out Chill if you haven't already. Justin, man, really appreciate you taking time to do this, man, and hope we can link up in person soon. And thanks again for sharing this, dude. Really excited to share with everyone.
For sure. Thanks.